Welcome to this presentation of Instructional Design and Ethics. To begin, let's get on the same page by defining both instructional design and ethics. So Reiser and Dempsey define instructional design as the analysis of learning and performance problems and the design, development, implementation, evaluation, and management of instructional processes and resources to improve learning and performance in a variety of settings. The Barkula Center for Applied Ethics at Santa Clara University defines ethics as well-founded standards of right and wrong that prescribe what humans ought to do, usually in terms of rights, obligations, benefits to society, fairness, or specific virtues. So when considering the relationship of instructional design and ethics, we really come down to three essential components: caring for others, doing the right thing, and reaching all learners. And we will discuss each of those in more detail. First, caring for others can relate to physical design of learning. Learning needs are basic needs, and they must be addressed before anyone can focus on content that we are teaching. Think about Maslow's hierarchy. Basics must be resolved before moving to higher level functions. One way to address these learning needs is through universal design for learning principles. Gargiulo and Metcalf describe 7 principles of universal design. Equitable use, which is the design meets the needs of multiple abilities. Flexibility in use, the design accommodates preferences and abilities. Simple and intuitive use, and the design also communicates necessary information. The 5th characteristic is that the design decreases adverse consequences or hazards, and low physical effort is needed to use. Finally, size and space are appropriate for use, regardless of physical stature or ability. Using these principles for universal design removes barriers through design and allows the learner to focus on the actual learning. Gargiulo and Metcalf remind us that when we design for the margins, everyone is included. This corresponds well to a discussion in Matthew chapter 25 with Jesus and his disciples about caring. The disciples were confused, and they asked Jesus, "When did we feed you or clothe you? Or when did we care for you, really?" Jesus answered, "When you did it for the least of my brethren, you did it for me." This acknowledges that people ought to care about each other, do the right things that benefit society, like our ethical definition states. Next, let's consider doing the right thing. And this is related to giving credit to others when it is due. While this may seem obvious, remember that Reiser and Dempsey tell us that crediting the author and recognizing our peers upholds our professional commitment and the high standards of our profession. Plagiarism is at its core stealing, which is clearly, by ethical standards, a wrong behavior, not benefiting society. Also, when effort is not put into actually learning, results are diminished, which can have serious results in workplace performance. Jesus gives us the hard truth that there will be challenges we face, but we don't need to let this defeat or discourage us. Ethical behavior and upholding ethical standards provides boundaries that are actually freeing, because then we know the space that we can create in. Jesus even says in John 8:32, "When we know the truth will make us free." Reaching all learners relates to inclusion and diversity, subjects that are frequently discussed regarding learning, instructional design, and ethics. When we think of diversity, it's like being invited to the dance. All are welcomed. Inclusion means that we're all dancing together. Now, relating these concepts to universal design for learning, we can accommodate and enjoy all kinds of dancing. And it doesn't need to be the same as the person next to us. You can dance in a group, or you can dance solo. You can choose the way that works for you. You can choose the dancing that you like, or the dancing that you're good at, or the dancing that works with whatever you need to do in order to be able to dance. You can even change the music. Dancing is the goal. So universal design for learning principles remind us that there are multiple means of representation. The what of teaching and learning. Gargiulo and Metcalf explain this as adapting for languages, learning styles, sensory and social needs, and adjusting environment for complexity, seeing, hearing, and even reaching. There are also multiple means of engagement, and this is the why of learning as explained by Gargiulo and Metcalf. It's flexibility in customization, in groupings, in technology and other environments, adjusting for student interests and backgrounds. And finally, there are multiple means of expression, and this is the how in teaching and learning. It's described by CAST as tracking progress differently, assessing content, strengths, and needs, providing output formats that can be changed to accommodate learner needs. While this may seem like a complex and really daunting task in teaching and learning, Paul reminds us in Philippians that we should have a good attitude in all we do and let our light shine. Inclusion is important, and it's worth the effort to reach all learners. As Jesus said in Mark chapter 15, "Go into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature." It's simply the right thing to do and the right way to design instruction. Thank you for viewing this presentation.